Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Say yeah.
What's up, everyone? Happy Friday again. Welcome to Kiss Meets Podcast 4K, the Crazy Kiss Countdown. You one of the best. I'm one of your hosts, guy that got his Facebook hacked, and also cranberry juice guy. I'm just like the guy on the popular video, except fatter, uglier, balder, and
Juice guy.
lighter.
And I am that guy who just lost a big old chunk of tooth earlier today, and that was,
Ooh.
so I just taste tooth. You may be tasting cranberry. I taste tooth.
I'm not a guy.
That's fair.
Savannah has how far to go until the big day?
A week, maybe.
1 week, maybe. We may get a live birth on the show.
No.
We're hoping.
No, we're not hoping for that.
She promised us if she doesn't do the live birth, she's at least going to eat the placenta live on the show.
No.
What?
No, I'm not.
People like that stuff. We need some ratings.
No.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, plus I don't know how to skateboard.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
All right, this week we're doing Unmasked. Should be interesting. We do have a lot to catch up on, thanks to our new buddy. What's his name? I'm sorry, I'm horrible at names.
Yeah, same. Carolina hard rock metalhead.
Thank you. Totally bad. It's been a crazy week with my Facebook account, so I apologize. But thanks to him, apparently he went back and voted on all the past episodes, and we do have a list of changes that we're going to get into, as well as other things. But real quick, wanted to quickly cover, I think it was last week's show that we promoted the Anthony X book, Kiss My Black Ass. And the books did show up this week, so very excited. I'm going to get Luke and Savannah's copies over to them probably tomorrow or Sunday at the latest, and we'll get started reading on them. Matter of fact, I'm going to stop the book I started reading and just jump right into this because I definitely want to get through it and be able to talk about it sooner than later on the show. And a lot of good stuff. So again, thanks to Anthony X. Everyone go to Amazon. You can get your copy. It's also available in Kindle edition as well. So be sure to check that out. Can't wait to read it. From what I hear, it's a pretty fun read from a lot of the reviews that we've heard and seen. So get your copy. All right. So it sounds like we got a lot of stuff to catch up on. So we might as well get going with that to get everything updated, and then we'll get rolling.
Absolutely. We are diving right into some comments. So again, if you've heard me say this, sorry that I sound like a broken record. If you haven't heard me say this, my setup's changed and the TV's over here now, so if you see me looking over here, that's why. I'm not ignoring all of you, I promise. So on last week's episode, 2 weeks ago, the Ace episode, we got several comments from Kiss and Tail, our good buddy Chris Lyon, who did message us to say that he hasn't been in recently because both him and his son have unfortunately fallen ill.
Oh.
So, yes. Very sorry to hear that. I hope you guys are doing better.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you guys are doing well. That must have came in after my whole Facebook thing happened because I didn't see any messages.
Yeah. So we got several comments here on the Ace episode from Chris. He says, "Good luck, Savannah. God bless your baby."
Thank you.
Absolutely. He's not blessing my baby though. Just yours.
Just mine.
Just yours.
He wants to be the godfather.
Right. He says, "Kiss 2020 goodbye by kissing your bank account goodbye." Absolutely. He also says, "I give the Ace album a big fat 9."
9, okay.
So I made sure that I put that in there. Not just 9, fat 9 is
fat 9.
Fat 9.
Fat 9.
It's on there.
Hey, speak of the devil. What's up, man?
There he is. Hey, Chris.
Hope you're feeling better, man.
Yes, absolutely.
If you are, you'll be sure to feel horrible again after joining us.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yes. Sorry we didn't message you back there, Chris, as well. I usually just wait for Eli to respond to stuff, and I did not realize until it was just here recently that he got locked out of his Facebook. So that's why your messages.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, Chris, but my Facebook account got totally hacked, and it's a big mess. I can't get into it, so I can't even get into Messenger. So just wanted to let you know. Don't think I was ignoring you and everything. So I definitely didn't see it, but driving me nuts trying to get something figured out. I really don't want to have to start a whole freaking new account. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. So
right. A couple of little interesting insights Chris gave us too. He says Eddie Kramer begged Ace to cover New York Groove. He refused, and on the last day of recording, just to get Kramer off his back, he recorded it. That's funny. I hadn't heard that.
And it turned out
He
to be
was just against
really
it as
good.
I am.
Uh-oh. Rust Belt, a.k.a. 100,000 watts. What's up, man?
Woo!
Thought y'all didn't like me anymore. Hey, we were thinking the same thing when we didn't see you guys popping in on the shows the last few weeks.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do we do? He also said the Speeding Back to My Baby solo is being played backwards. Eddie Kramer took Ace's solo and put it in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. So jumping over to last week's episode, Dynasty, if my computer would cooperate, we had several comments. It was awesome to see all of this. Battery here from Chris, Kiss and Tail. His top 3 for Dynasty, X-Ray Eyes, Sure Knows Something, and Hard Times. Also gave it an 8.5 overall ranking.
Very cool.
Nice. We'll get into all the changes here in a bit because there were quite a few. Chris's true confession was, I traded my Love Gun album straight up for Dynasty as a second grader on the school bus, but I like it just as much, if not more, than Love Gun. Nice. As a kid, I remember I Was Made for Loving You video world premiered on Good Morning America. I was up early waiting to see the video. Very interesting. To see Kiss, a music video of Kiss on Good Morning America, that would be pretty funny.
That's where they made the video, huh?
Yeah. Wow. He also says, hard to believe Sure Knows Something didn't crack top 40. Yeah, absolutely agree. Also, Chris checked out the disco remix of Dirty Livin' and said it's amazing. And also he said, I believe John 5 has the Originals Volume 2 as well.
I'm sure he does. He probably has a freaking test pressing of it or something.
Yeah, no kidding. We got a comment from Chuck McFarland, who gave his rankings for Dynasty. He gave it an 8 overall, and his top 3 were Dirty Livin', 2000 Man, and Hard Times. We did get those put in. He also gave overall rankings for the solo albums. Ace, he gave a 10. Paul, he gave an 8. Gene and Peter both got a 4.
Oh.
So again, we got that all put in. He also says, P.S. I'm not getting the same drug vibe from Dirty Livin'. It's certainly not the Velvet Underground's I'm Waiting for the Man, though both songs are really good. Great show.
Well, those are 2 different bands, too. I mean,
Very,
Kiss is all about innuendo, and that was kind of their undermined way of singing about drugs, just like in other songs. But bands like Velvet Revolver are more straight up, like, we're high on acid.
right.
That's basically what they're saying.
Yes. We got a comment from Anthony X. He says, one of the things I love about the show is you guys keep the cussing and profanities to a minimum. This helps a lot since I listen to the show mostly at work and have it turned up loud and have others around me. I can't listen to other Kiss podcasts at work because they're always dropping F-bombs and sex jokes every 45 seconds. So thank you for keeping it clean.
Yeah, no problem, man. I mean, I guess for whatever reason we kind of keep the show that way, but we'll just say it's a different story outside of the show.
Yeah. Professional and personal, two different things.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yes. But thank you for pointing that out, too. I don't think we've ever had anybody specifically call that out. That is appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
He also says, I think Dynasty is their second best produced 70s album after Destroyer. But to me, Dynasty has the best mix of all the 70s albums. It's a little high in some areas and could have had more bass in the mix, but it's not a takeaway. I agree with Eli's critique of Magic Touch because I felt the same way for years. But these days I love and play the song a lot. And that's actually Paul who plays bass on Sure Know Something. I used to think it was Ace, but Paul created and played the bass lick. Nice. We wondered about that because Wikipedia implied that it was Gene, but that just didn't quite seem right to me.
Speaking of Sure Know Something, I was listening. It was like it was one of those clips where they're working on writing the song, and they're just kind of going through the riff, and Paul starts getting into it more, and he starts just kind of scatting some vocals, and at one part he's like, and then he's like, I effed your mom. That was pretty funny.
That's funny. Anthony also says, Dynasty is my favorite 70s Kiss album, and I give it an 8.5. If it weren't for Save Your Love, which I consider a filler, it'd get a higher ranking. He also said his top 3 are Dirty Livin', Hard Times, and X-Ray Eyes.
Nice.
Yes. We got 2 comments from Thomas, Rain in Adamstown. For our longtime viewers, you'll recognize that name. He says, War Machine is out. Stop the polls now.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, definitely agree. He says, okay, Dynasty, what a great album this is. After all these years, I can't find a negative thing. The production is fantastic, and I love every song. I give the album a 9. His top 3, Magic Touch, Hard Times, and Charisma. He says, my true confession is Dynasty is better than Love Gun. Or no, I'm sorry, Dynasty is the better Love Gun. And yes, I still think that they are sister albums. Commercial and more mainstream market oriented. Don't understand why people call Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun sister albums. It is like Dark and Light. Rock and Roll Over has a raw but not so perfect production and dirty rock songs. Love Gun is cleaner. And Dynasty is the last little step towards mainstream perfection. The In My Head YouTube channel will have an album battle between Dynasty and Creatures next week. 2 very different but perfect discs. Have a nice Saturday.
Yeah, that one will be a tough one to kind of debate over. Yeah, I totally agree, man. I never thought Love Gun and Rock and Roll Over have any similarities to me. I totally think they're their own albums, rightfully so, because they're both great albums too.
Yep. He also replied to that comment. He said, now that you've said it, I can agree that the album sounds like a summary of the solo albums. Never thought about it. X-Ray Eyes sounds like the Gene album. Sure Know Something uses the Ain't Quite Right clean guitars. Dirty Livin' and That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes have the same kind of groove. And Ace is Ace. Cool. Now we've learned something again. That's for sure.
According to Chris, Mike sings Dirty Living at work.
Do you work in a trash pile in a dump? All right, so our last comment is by far the longest comment we've ever gotten ever.
Oh Lord!
So I'll jump through here, and then we'll have to go through our list of changes. This comes from our new friend Carolina Hard Rock Metalhead, who we talked about a lot last week. I believe they are also a podcast that does several different things, not necessarily Kiss related, but Kiss comes into it a lot. So it sounds like something very similar to Kiss and Tail. So check that out if you haven't already. He went through and gave us full rankings for every episode we've done so far. So Carolina says, okay, guys, ready to process a lot of information. I'm going to see how much I can do ranking the albums. But like every Kiss fan, my rankings will probably change, some from my podcast, because we always do that as Kiss fans here. Here we go. That is for sure. We've talked about that a lot ourselves. That we could. That's why we're doing this again. We've already gone through the whole discography. Our rankings are not the same.
Yeah, we always say pretty much with every album, our picks could change tomorrow. And then now we're like, okay, let's see how they changed from the last time we did it. And in most cases, they have, but some, come to find out, have stayed the same, surprisingly.
Yeah. Yep. Same little bits. Oh,
full service, baby. I can clean your pool.
That's good. So you're a pool boy. Oh, wait. We can't do sex jokes.
Yeah.
Crap. Okay. All right. So quick rundown here. For the debut album, Carolina gave it a 9 out of 10, and his top 3, Nothing to Lose, Kissin' Time, and 100,000 Years. By the way, sorry, Carolina, if you're a girl. I keep saying he. I assume.
Hey, I'm pretty sure it's a dude.
All right.
Because if you go to his channel, it's basically just that one dude on all the videos for the most part.
Right on. For Hotter Than Hell, gave it a 9.5. Top 3, Parasite, Watching You in Strange Ways. For Dress to Kill, gave it a 9.5. Top 3 were Rock Bottom, Getaway, and Love Her All I Can. Destroyer gave it an 8.5. Top 3, God of Thunder, Do You Love Me, and Detroit Rock City. For Rock and Roll Over, gave it a 9.5. The top 3 were Calling Dr. Love, Making Love, and I Want You. For Love Gun, gave it an 8. Top 3 were Got Love for Sale, Shock Me, and I Stole Your Love. Alive 2, Side 4 he did, but we're actually saving those songs for a different thing. So appreciated that you did those, but we are going to be doing those with all of the little extra bits at the very end. We'll get into that when we get closer to it. For the Ace solo album, he gave it an 8. Top 3 were I'm in Need of Love, Snowblind, and Rip It Out. For Peter's solo album, he gave it a 1.5. Top 3 were Hooked on Rock and Roll, You Matter to Me, and I Can't Stop the Rain. The Gene solo album, he gave it a 2.5. Top 3 were Man of a Thousand Faces, See You in Your Dreams, and See You Tonight. For Paul's solo album, he gave it a 6.5. Top 3 were Tonight You Belong to Me, Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, and It's All Right. By the way, notice that you conveniently left When You Wish Upon a Star off the Gene ranking. Thought that was kind of funny. And then for Dynasty, he gave it a 7. And the top 3 were Save Your Love, 2000 Man, and Magic Touch. Okay, so with everybody's rankings, we got a lot of rankings there for several different albums. Factoring in all of that, the following are a list of things that changed about our rankings. So Kiss's debut album went up to 8.9 average overall. It was previously 8.8. Hotter Than Hell went up to 7.6 from 7.5 overall. Got to Choose went up to 6th place, switching Let Me Go, which is now in 7th place. Dress to Kill went up to 7.8 out of 10 from 7.7. Rock Bottom went up to 2nd place, switching Come On and Love Me, which is now in 3rd place. Sweet Pain went up to 6th place from 7th place. Beth went down to 8th from 6th. Do You Love Me went up to 7th from 8th. Making Love went up to 2nd place from 3rd, switching Hard Luck Woman, which is now in 3rd place. Yep, I wrote that down wrong, but that's what it is. Peter Criss now is 6.2 average overall, down from 6.5. Our top 3 also switched around for Peter. That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes is now in 3rd place, down from 1st. Hooked on Rock and Roll is now in 2nd, up from 3rd. And I Can't Stop the Rain is now in 1st, up from 2nd. Gene's album went down to a 6.2 overall, which is down from 6.4. Tunnel of Love is now in 8th place, switching places with See You in Your Dreams, which is now in 7th place. I Was Made for Loving You went down to 6th place, switching 2000 Man, which went up to 5th. X-Ray Eyes went down to 8th place, which switched Save Your Love, which is now in 7th place.
Wow.
Holy crap.
There it is on the screen. Carolina Hard Rock Metalhead. Go check out his channel. I mean, hell, his 3 most recent videos are all Kish related, so there you go right there. But definitely planning on doing some collabing. Chris, Mike, you guys should check them out too. It'd be cool if we can even do like a little, 3-way collab. Would be kind of cool.
Absolutely. We're becoming the Holy Trinity over here.
Yeah. See no evil, speak no evil. Hear no evil.
According to Anthony, we are the speak no evil.
Yeah, Carolina Hard Rock Metalhead. Hey, thanks for doing that, man. That's exactly what we've asked everyone to do. Go back, vote on every single album up, catch up, because that's why we want to do this. Because as you just saw right there, it made some changes to everything, and that's why we want as much input as possible. Christmas episode, are we in? Yeah, when you doing it, man?
There you
definitely need to get on there.
Right. We may have to just pop in though. We're gonna have a newborn.
True.
Yeah. All right. So some polls, eh?
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys haven't seen the polls, things are really, really heating up over on Facebook. We are now into round 5. We're getting close to the end. Oh yeah, we probably won't even be out of the hospital on December 12th.
Yeah.
Well, worst case scenario, I can come on myself. I know that's real exciting, but
yeah.
And
absolutely.
then if somehow they can pop in somehow, I'm sure they will. But
yeah, we'll do a surprise cameo from the hospital.
we'll have the live birth on Kiss and Tail. We'll give you guys the exclusive.
No. Stop advertising this, Eli.
Luke will do the circumcision live on Kiss and Tail.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And then he'll circumcise the baby.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
we can show that segment of the video at his wedding someday. Perfect. Oh man.
Yeah,
so,
count me in, Chris. We'll definitely do that. And then once Luke and Savannah get somewhat back to normal, I'm sure they can all join us at some point down the road again.
Absolutely. Oh man. So our normal advertisement for our tournament, if any of you out there are brand new viewers, please check out our Facebook, Kiss Meets the Podcast, over there. We also have a group, Kiss Meets the Podcast group. It is something you have to request access to, but I discovered recently that it automatically accepts everybody. So we don't even have to approve you. You just go right in. So don't even worry about that. If you get invited or if you request to join, you go right in there. In there, we have been conducting a tournament of every single Kiss song. It was something like 250 songs, just to see what is the ultimate Kiss song according to us and our entire fan base, all of you. We are now in round 5. We are getting really close to the end. So now is when we're getting down to the really, really tough calls. We need as many votes as possible.
Yes, and thank you if one of you people that have joined the group page is the person who hacked me. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yes. So last week we did our round 4 second chance vote. And essentially what that means is that anytime we start a round that has an odd number of songs and one song doesn't have a match, we take one of the songs that is already lost. We do a poll of 6 of those that have lost, and you guys pick which one gets to come back into the round. So that's what we did last week. We had 6 songs, which are the ones that I'm about to say right here in a second after I finish clicking the things that I'm clicking on right now. Don't mind me. I promise I know what I'm doing. Okay. It's the 6 that we posted were Rocket Ride, A Million to One, Hate, I'm a Legend Tonight, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll. pretty tight vote this time around. Rocket Ride did win that second chance.
Thank God.
Yes, 9 of the votes for Rocket Ride. Now, Let Me Go Rock and Roll came pretty close. It had 6, which is interesting because I think Let Me Go was in the last second chance round as well and didn't get any votes.
I'd like to have seen more votes overall, but hey, it is what it is, and Rocket Ride got back in, so let's see what happens now.
Yes. So we are now beginning round 5 of the tournament. There are only 9 matches total for this entire round. That's how close we are to getting this thing done. So there are 5 posted in that group right now. You can go vote on these absolutely right now.
I wish I could vote.
Yeah, poor Eli can't vote.
I have no clue now what the matchups are, so it's a surprise to me right now.
Yeah. Well, get ready for 5 kicks in the balls.
Oh, jeez. Okay, let me just get the hammer out.
Yeah,
Every time you name them.
Use the flat end.
Oh, man. So the 5 that you can go vote on right now, Unholy versus 100,000 Years. Yeah. Cold Gen versus Creatures of the Night. Strutter versus She. Deuce versus I Love It Loud.
Oh.
Yeah. And finally, Heaven's on Fire versus Detroit Rock City.
I feel bad for you guys that actually have to vote.
Yeah. Yes. So, definitely get in there and get in on that. Next week, we're going to post the other 4. The following week, we'll have another second chance round. And then, we're getting down into like 1 round a week after this. So definitely get in on the action before it's over.
Deuce and I Love It Loud. I'm going to go with the Gene song.
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Safe bet, right?
I think so.
So we're ready to get into the album info finally, or?
Yeah, we are. Let me just scroll through Wikipedia begging for my money. Good news, they're close though. If I personally give them $2.75, their company will be saved.
Okay, but I guess the downside to this week is we didn't get any more, invites to adult sites.
Yeah, that's strangely missing.
It's Christmas time. Come on.
That's because the person that has been posting those is the one that hacked your Facebook.
Probably.
Eli, did you click on one of those links?
I'll show you. You're not going to click on my link. I'll hack you.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So the album for this week, of course, is Unmasked. This is the 8th studio album by Kiss. This was released May 20th, 1980, and recorded throughout January, February, and March 1980. Hey, Eli's got it. This was recorded in the Record Plant Studios in New York City and produced by Vinny Poncia, the same guy that did Dynasty and Peter's solo album. Let's see.
There you go, Chris. I still say they stink.
Yeah, exactly. As far as personnel goes, we have Paul Stanley on rhythm guitar, vocals, also lead guitar on Shandy, all guitars and bass on Tomorrow and Easy As It Seems, guitar solo on Is That You and You're All That I Want, and the first guitar solo on What Makes the World Go Round. We've got Ace Frehley, lead guitar, acoustic guitar, vocals, and all guitars and bass on Talk to Me, Two Sides of the Coin, and Torpedo Girl, guitar solo on Naked City, and the second guitar solo on What Makes the World Go Round. Gene Simmons, bass guitar, vocals, rhythm guitar on You're All That I Want, and Peter Criss, it says drums, credit only. And we have, of course, Anton Fig, who did the drums for every song on this album. We also had Vinny Poncia, who did keyboards, percussion, and backing vocals, Tom Harper, who played bass on Shandy, Holly Knight, who played keyboards throughout the album, and Bob Kulick, who played additional guitar.
Well, I didn't know Bob was on this one, too.
Yeah. This album did get up to 35 on the U.S. Billboard Pop Album charts. 3 singles from this: Shandy, Talk to Me, and Tomorrow.
Well, Mike loves this album. He says it should have never been released.
Woo! That's very pokey. So, of course, if you're a true Kiss fan, then you already know this, but Peter appears on the album cover. He did not play on the album. He didn't go on the tour either shortly after this album was released. He played the Shandy music video. He's in that. That is his last appearance with Kiss until the conventions several years later. So when they went to tour this album, we got Eric Carr for the first time.
Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't get Peter to at least do like some vocals on here or something, even if it was just background or whatever. But
yeah, crazy.
All right, so we start this album off with Bob. Chris thinks that Bob Kulick had to play guitar on Shandy. He doesn't think it's Ace or Paul. All right, so kicking off the album, we have another cover song. If you are not familiar, is That You? And this one is originally done by Gerard McMahon. Again, not a bad version. But anyway, this is number 7 for me. And a pretty cool way to start off the album. Definitely a little poppy sounding, which, this album is arguably it's poppy or disco, kind of either way. I personally think there's more disco-y stuff on this album than Dynasty. Again, that's my argument. But it's a pretty cool song. I like the lyric content, and it's kind of the first time that you hear Paul uses the word bitch. That's kind of the first time you've ever heard like a curse word per se in a Kiss song, I guess. The pre-chorus with the vocal harmonies and everything's pretty cool, and once it hits the chorus, and then you got kind of the repeating background vocals, after Paul, and it's always been one of them songs that I don't mind it, and I always enjoy hearing it every time it's on. So pretty good start to the album. Again, it may have been a slight, different taste of what people were looking for, but not bad.
This is number 8 for me. I feel like this being the start of the album, it was very un-Kiss-ish for them. It's just a really odd kind of song. I don't feel like it was a strong start for this album at all. It was just because it was just kind of weird. Like, I feel like in general, with this whole album in general, I feel like they were just going for a different angle than what they normally did.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, because it was just so different from what they had previously done, I don't feel like it was I feel like there was just better songs on this album that could have really hit this album off, and this one was not the one to do that. It was just kind of a bland, just for Kiss. I was when I first heard this album, I was expecting it, with like the other albums, and it was so different, and I was like, I don't know. And then it kind of was just disappointing, for it being the start of an album. Like, I was not impressed. So it was kind of low for me.
Yeah, really low for me. This is actually my number 10. Now, I will say this song has grown on me a lot over the years. I did enjoy hearing it this time. It's not anywhere near my favorite on the album, and starting the album with a cover seemed a bit questionable to me. And yeah, it's a bit plotty. It's not exciting. Not a bad song, but not, couldn't agree more. Not a great start as far as what they could have picked.
Next up, we have Shandy. This is number 6. One of those great Paul ballads. It's kind of become, in a way, like kind of one of those cult favorites after all these years. To me, it's kind of up there with kind of like The Oath and everything, where it's kind of become a favorite among a lot of fans. It is a good song. I love the production of it with the acoustics underneath and everything. Um, I will say, and I was gonna use this as my one of my true confessions, but I'll just say it now. I think that had Peter still been involved enough, that I think Peter would have ended up singing this song, not Paul. Because when I was listening to it on this time around today, I just kept picturing Peter singing these vocals, and I can almost hear it in my head, like how it would have sounded. And I just feel like this would have been another one of those Peter songs, just like Hard Luck Woman. But again, Paul does a great job, of course, and this has become one of those Paul kind of anthem songs, or theme songs, and they usually kind of save it, or at least they were saving it to they'd only pull it out in like Australia, because apparently this song was very huge in Australia. So they would pull it out over there, like on the reunion tour, even, and whatnot. But yeah, just I like we touched on the video a little bit earlier. It's a pretty cool video. I like how there's kind of that concept of the cover art at the end of it, where they think they're catching them out of their makeup and everything, and they turn around, they all still have their makeup on, wearing their street clothes, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. If by chance no one's ever seen the video, look it up on YouTube. It's pretty cool. Yeah, great song, another great ballad. I don't think it's like too sappy or anything. It's just a really good song.
Um, this is number 5 for me, kind of just right in the middle. This song hasn't ever been one of my favorite, like, of the popular Kiss songs, but it's a great song for sure. But I feel like this one has a little bit too much of a disco vibe for my taste. Like, I get a disco vibe for this, but I feel like it's the perfect example of a disco ballad. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like if you think disco ballad, Shandy would be like one of the songs you would think of, because it's just like perfect for that. Um, but as far as like, just like, if I were to generalize a list of like my top 30 favorite Kiss songs or something, this probably wouldn't make it on the list, just because it's never been one of my real favorites of the popular Kiss songs. But I mean, yeah, for it being a ballad and stuff, and just I feel like it showcases Paul's voice very well. And so this time, I think the last time I voted for this, it was like 3 or something like that, and this time it was kind of just smack in the middle. Like, wasn't really the greatest, but it wasn't the worst for sure. So
yeah, I have to agree. I don't think it would be in my top 30 either, and I don't even know top 50 even if we were to
yeah,
go that far. And
right, yeah,
and again, I know that sounds like I'm trashing the song, but I mean, it really is a good song. But yeah, when it comes down to like all time,
yeah,
there's definitely others that would come before it.
right.
This was actually number 2 for me. Y'all admit I do have to be in a certain mood to really like get this song, but when I'm in that mood, honestly I think this might be one of my under the table favorite Kiss songs, that sort of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, I've always wanted to play this one live and never really felt like it got there. I think Sweet Pain tried it a couple of times and it was a disaster. And I know we did it at least once with Kissish, and it was all right there. Um, I think this is the logical follow up to "I Was Made for Loving You" and "Sure Know Something." Not quite the same stylistically, but a nice next step in that direction.
Yeah, I could see that, how there's a similarity with those songs. Yeah, I mean, for that matter, when they played Shandy on the Unmasked tour, I thought it sounded okay. I mean, it was obviously sped up and everything, but
Yeah, a little way too fast, but yeah, yeah.
I feel like this one would be fun to play live, though. If
Yeah,
you play it, like, I feel like it would be fun to play.
yeah, it's a little tricky at points, but
Yeah.
I know it's one of them songs where it sounds so simple, but then when you actually start to play, there's little bits of trickiness.
Yeah. You gotta capture that vibe, and it's a
Mhm.
difficult vibe. It's not hard and it's not soft. It's somewhere in between.
What's the odds that you guys think they're going to pull this song out for the New Year's Eve concert, especially that they're playing over in Dubai?
Could be.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because I wonder, it'd be kind of cool if they do like a actual acoustic section or something
Hmm.
in the
I
set.
hope they pull out some weird stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I might feel a little cheated if it's just the end of the road set.
right. That's what I'm worried about.
Hmm.
It's like, taking that risk. All right, so we come to the best song on the album and the song that's going to win our polls.
Naked City, right? Naked City.
Yeah.
Everyone sing it. Talk to me. Talk. Number 4 for me. Hey, I know, I know Luke hates it, but you know I've always had a spot for this song. This is one of the songs I always gravitated towards when I first, started listening to this album years ago, and being an Ace song is a big reason. I just kind of like how it flows, with his vocals, and I like the solo, and when it gets to the I just want to talk to you and all that stuff, and I don't know, just for whatever reason it's just kind of stuck with me, and it's one of the songs, believe it or not, that I kind of think of when I hear Unmasked. If someone's talking about the album, that's one of the first songs I immediately go to. So
This is number 11. I hate this song just as much as Luke does.
well, that wasn't influence.
I just really don't have much of an opinion in general about the song. I feel like it, for being an Ace song, this one, it's very underdone and it's just all around bad. Like, Ace always has such great songs, and then turds like this one surface, and it's like, what happened? Like, come on! Like, I know you could do better than that. Uh,
And he
but
does.
I made a joke last night to Luke about this song, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna listen to it tomorrow, even though I don't want to, but I'm gonna won't be surprised if the computer doesn't jump off my lap and try to commit suicide. Like, it's just, I can't handle it.
Well, every time I babysit your kid, I'm going to play that song for him.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
And it's going to be a lullaby version, too. So the song's going to grow, and it's going to be his favorite song ever.
Oh my
when we
God.
listened to it earlier, like, I'm telling you, he could feel my displeasure. He's gonna have like nightmares about this. Oh,
Do I even have to say my rank? You know, we at this point, I feel similarly towards Talk to Me as I do towards Nickelback. It is great fun to say, God, I hate that song. I don't hate it as much as I put it out there. I do dislike this song strongly, but as we've said multiple times on this podcast, at least me, I don't hate any Kiss song.
Yeah.
I would take Talk to Me on repeat as the only song I listen to for the rest of my life over 98% of the songs released in the last 10 years, just in general.
Amen. Yeah.
100% without hesitation. For me, it's the chorus. The rest of the song definitely isn't bad. Sounds like typical Ace. Has a lot of similarities to Two Sides of the Coin, which is one of my favorite Ace songs. But the chorus is just straight up annoying. How many times do we have to hear the freaking title? Just stop.
yeah.
That is why I dislike this song, in case anybody's ever wondered.
Well, we go to that to what could end up being the best song on the album, Naked City. It's definitely my number 1. Listening to this song, and as I know we've kind of brought it up here and there with other shows, when it comes to topics like whether it's Gene's bass playing or whatever, and it just immediately felt like we just did this Unmasked episode like yesterday. As soon as I heard this song, because I could just still feel so fresh. Like All I got to say is that sweet bass line, and
Mm.
you guys know exactly immediately, like we're all on the same page. And um, that's the thing about this song that does it for me. I just love the tone of the bass on here, and it's to me one of if not the best bass lines that Gene's ever played. Definitely underrated. A lot of people don't. Well, I'll say the more casual fans maybe don't talk about this song as much as I feel it should be. Um, and not to mention Gene's vocals. I mean, he's doing some cool stuff on there, hitting some high notes, and um, it's just a great song. And it kind of, I guess, is similar to Charisma in ways. Like it's kind of got that same sort of laid back vibe to it. But yeah, this song is just excellent. I mean, it could very well probably be in my top 10 like Gene songs. Period.
Yep, this is number one for me as well. I think this song would have been the perfect pick for an opening for this album.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very upbeat. It's got a great just rock tone to it, like more like what you expect from the opening for a Kiss album.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love this song. I've always have since the very first time I ever heard it. Um, it has all the elements that just make a great song. It has an awesome bass tone, the great riffs, the hard hitting, drum fills, the great solo, and then Gene's vocals are just they are on point in this song, like from start to finish. Just he's kind of got the growl at points, and then he's got his softer, just his clean vocals. I mean, it's perfect for him. Like this was a perfect song for him. It kind of actually reminds me of Magic Touch a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the similarly wise to that song. Uh, so I mean, it may even have been a better choice for that album, to be with that, because it's more in that category, I think. But yeah, for this song, I was like, man, I wish they would have opened the whole album with this song because it's so good. And so yeah, it's my number one as well.
Yeah, you're right. Magic Touch makes more sense than Charisma to say that it's more similar to. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement here. This is also number one for me. Um, yeah, it's just no contest. Not only the best song on this album, I think, but it blows out the two from Dynasty. It blows out the ones from the studio versions on Alive 2. It blows out the songs of his on The Elder. This is the best song he wrote in this era, just absolutely hands down. It is such a shame they didn't do this one live at the time or like ever. I mean,
Yeah.
why? Why? Who didn't think this was good enough?
Yeah, I think since Radioactive, that was his best song.
Yep.
Next is. Jeez. You guys are brutal, man. You got to give it a chance. Give it a listen. Next is What Makes the World Go Round. This is number 10 for me. This one is another one that definitely has a big disco vibe, I think, and it's always been at that point where I'll listen to it on a listen of the full album, but it's one of them that I get kind of bored with it, and that just that little disco feel to it. But other than that, yeah, I mean that's about it.
This was number four for me. I love the chorus of this song. It's fun to sing along with. The beginning is kind of weak, and I think it picks up pretty quickly, and I love what the drums are doing in the chorus too. Like I think the chorus, this by itself, is what I like the most about this song and why it ranked so high on my list. Because yeah, the beginning is kind of meh, and even the verses are a little bit meh. But when that chorus hits, man, it's so much fun. It's just a fun song. I feel like the drums, what they're doing in that chorus too, it just helps give it a little bit of a flavor. Um, but I always have loved the chorus of this song. But yeah, it is. It's very disco-y and it's very. Um, I don't usually like that very much, so it's
Yeah.
like.
I found out really fast.
Yes, that's exactly what you do. You're just like, yeah.
I can just picture like early '80s aerobics, like
Yes.
doing this.
Yep. And like the bright pink and bright
Yeah,
neon green, like, yep. Yeah.
the headbands and the leg
Yes.
warmers.
Yes.
Come on, girls.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, number 7 for me. This is a really catchy melody, I think, throughout most of the song. My favorite bit, though, is the middle section, just because it's unexpected. That happens a couple of times throughout this album, but the middle section is just really unexpected. The chords they go to, and then the vocals in that bit bring to mind kind of like a Broadway musical, which is interesting. That's not something you'd expect to hear on a Kiss album.
Yeah.
It's like the movie Detroit Rock City had this song fit, time wise of where this was supposed to take place. They should have had this song playing in the car when they were driving instead of that Making It song.
Yeah.
Found it.
Yes.
With the Stellas and Guidos. All right, so we flip it over for side 2, and we got Tomorrow, another Paul song. This is my number 8. Pretty good song, but I will say, to me, this does sound like another reject from Paul's solo album. It sounds like it could have fit, perfectly on there as well. They should have called this album Uncharted. But yeah, good song. Definitely keeps my attention better than What Makes the World Go Round. I definitely like the chorus part. It's got a good harmony flow to it, and just a really good track.
This is number 2 for me. I love this song just because it's so happy. It's it reminds me of like the early 2000 movies like 10 Things I Hate About You and Drive Me Crazy, like those kind of teen movies that were really popular for a little while. This is the kind of song that definitely would have made it onto the soundtrack of one of those movies. Because it gave me that vibe so hard. And I loved those movies when I was a teenager growing up watching those movies. Those were just some of my favorites. So it almost had this like nostalgic feel to it when I was listening to it as well, which I think is why it's just this time anyway it made it so high on my list, because I just had this like nostalgic like, oh, I remember like if this would have been like this could have been on the 10 Things I Hate About You soundtrack or something like that. Like I loved it. So I was like, or one of them college movies, it just, yeah.
So it's like another one of those feel good Kiss songs.
Yes, it's a feel good Kiss song. There you go. That's a good one. That's a good description of it.
It's weird because I agree that it's like a feel good Kiss song, but for me, for some reason, it never clicks to me like that as I do with the other ones that's come and gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that you brought up the connection to Paul's solo album, because that I didn't have that as a note, but that I realized it connects to something I do. This is also number 8 for me. This song feels a bit unfinished, and I said that same thing about several of Paul's solo album songs. He just had a verse and a chorus idea and then just rolled with it and somehow stretched that into a full-length song. They were good. The verse and the chorus really good. Just probably could have put a bit more in it,
Yeah.
And for that, even though I do really like the song, I was surprised to see this was a single. I'm not really on board with it as a single. I don't think it's near as strong as Naked City, She's So European, or even Two Sides of the Coin.
No, not at all. Darn it, Mike, why didn't you film it and put it on the show? All right, so we jump back to the Spaceman here. We got Two Sides of the Coin. Number 5 for me. another just fantastic Ace song. Um, and I kind of put this one in that feel good category too. But just every time I hear this song come on, I always get a little extra peppy or whatever, And it's just a good beat, and again the way Ace's lyrics flow, and it just I've just always enjoyed it, and really the first time I started becoming familiar with the song was on the Greatest Kiss compilation. They put this song on there because again at that time I had pretty much refused to listen to Unmasked as a whole. I was just only listening to a couple songs off the album. That's about all I do. Well, kept hearing as much as I'd listen to Greatest Kiss, and then Two Sides was on there, and it just became infectious. And then come to find out it's on this album, I'm like, oh, okay. So um, yeah, just really good song.
This is number 6 for me. I feel like this is the much better Ace song.
Mhm.
I think this is more of what is to be expected from Ace when you think of an Ace Frehley song like this. This is more of what you expect to hear.
Mhm.
I've always really liked this song, even though I'm not exactly the biggest Ace fan. But this has always been one of his better songs that I always liked a lot more. Um, it's definitely a huge step up from "Talk to Me." I'll say that. And the drum fills in the middle, I think, are my favorite part. I really like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes. Number 3 for me on this one. Uh, this honestly is one of my favorite Ace songs of all time. I'm always a bit surprised to hear. I feel like I hear a lot of people specifically don't like this song, and that's always surprised me. I don't understand that one at all. I think the chorus of this song might be one of the catchiest bits Ace has ever written for anything. And that middle section, yeah, again with the middle section, it's so unexpected and different. And I also noted, I think Anton's drum fills might be my favorite drumming moment on the whole album.
yep.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, Chris, that's definitely arguable because I know you say they're all throwaway songs by Ace, but man, I mean, what we were just sitting here saying with Two Sides, it's pretty arguable, man. I don't know. I'd say more about Elder is like throwaway type songs being 1 foot out the door.
Right. Here, you would almost think he's trying to save it. He's trying to find that middle ground between the poppy, what makes the world go round, and tomorrow that Paul clearly wanted to do, and the hard rock that he wanted to do. Two Sides still fits these songs, but it's definitely more hard edged.
Yeah, I mean, once again, we got 3 Ace songs on an album, back-to-back albums.
Yep.
Okay, next up is She's So European, another Gene classic here. This is number 2 for me. There's a pretty cool video for this too. It's more of them, more or less just them on I forget what show. It might have even been like a German show or something, but they're basically pantomiming to the song. But still, it's cool because you got that visual of those costumes and plus Eric Carr's on there. But man, as far as the song, it's just another great uh, Gene underrated song. I love the lyric content, and it's another just totally catchy song. Kind of similar, like almost like True Confessions. Like you just kind of get that chorus kind of stuck in your head, and good Lord, that high note that Gene hits towards the end, and then that one little part that like that's such a to me that's like a signature little part of the song that it's always cool to hear. And it was cool. It was cool to hear Gene even pull this out, during his solo tours too. So, kind of a excuse me, a little bonus there. But yeah, just an awesome Gene song.
Yep, this is number 3 for me. I love the energy of this song. It's just a great all around, rock song,
Right.
and it's one of the more rockin' songs on the album. It leans more towards what you would expect to hear on a Kiss album. Um, I love the middle part, where it kind of showcases Gene's vocals a little bit. It showcases them well before the solo starts. I kind of wish that solo would have been a little bit more isolated in the front though, because I feel like it was kind of buried behind things. But it also wasn't a very long solo either, so it was like, I wish it would have been more in the front, but I also kind of wish it would have lasted a little bit longer because I feel like that would have made it even a better song. Um, because the length of it, I was like, oh, I wish it wasn't over already. Like I was grooving with it, and then it kind of was just like gone. I'm like, okay, come on. um, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think this was one of the better ones on the album for sure.
Yep. Number 4 for me. This might be one of Gene's most underrated songs. I think I might have said that for X-Ray Eyes last week too, but this one, yeah, very, very underrated. And yeah, I really like that guitar solo, but it's so short. And then it clashes the vocals a little bit in the little bridge bit that's after it. Not the notes necessarily, but in the mix, it's hard to focus on the little guitar solo that's still happening and what Gene's singing. It's a little strange.
Yeah, it's kind of like from the solo album up through Elder is kind of like the period where Gene has a lot of underrated songs.
Yeah.
Because once Creatures hits, obviously, I mean, everyone and their grandma pretty much knows the Gene song, as far as I Love It Loud. And just real quick, I just figured I'd show these. Speaking of She's So European, this is the Japanese single, which has Shandy on the B-side. Oddly enough, they used a Love Gun era photo on the inside.
Huh.
And then this is the Japanese single for Tomorrow in Naked City.
Oh, that's cool.
So, of course, Eric with the early makeup design there. Pretty cool. All right, so next is Easy As It Seems. This one is dead last, number 11 for me. Just another one that doesn't do anything. I'm pretty sure this one, if I'm not mistaken, this one did have a pretty kind of another like funky intro. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that is. So yeah, I mean, I'll give it that. I mean, a pretty cool funky intro, some more cool bass work there. But when it gets into the song itself, I don't know. There's just something about it. The vibe to it just has that weird, there were certain things in the early 80s like this that had these certain sounds to me that just, I don't know, it makes me feel like uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know what it is, but this song just kind of does that. It just has a weird vibe to it with the lyrics and everything, and the chorus. It just never really does anything.
This is number 7 for me. It's like a great mix of rock and disco together. It's got like these cool rock riffs and like a really cool solo, and then the keyboards give it that kind of disco tone. And it's the same with the verses and the choruses as well. Like the verses are more low and kind of like a rock vibe, and then when you get into the chorus, it's more of a high and a disco vibe. So it's like they meshed it together, like almost in like this weird like hybrid shouldn't work but it does way. So it was really weird, and I didn't get that vibe like the last time I listened to the song, I can tell you. But this time listening to it, that's the vibe I got from it. I was like, how did they even do that? Like, how
Right.
do you mix and hybrid like rock and disco together? Like, it's so weird. So yeah, number 7 for me.
Number 6 for me, actually, on this one. I get this one stuck in my head. I always thought this one was really catchy. I feel like it even this one I feel like may have been a better single than Tomorrow, just to me. The only problem with it is that it's mostly just the same riff over and over. Now, the catchiness of the vocals and melody kind of make up for it because they change around the riff to make different sections, which is interesting. But that, and also the ending, they could have come up with a better ending. There's another Paul song that felt a little unfinished.
Yeah. There you go, Chris. It's that Kisco sound.
Yeah.
All right. Last song from Space Ace here, Torpedo Girl, number 3 for me. Man, this is again. I know we use the term underrated a lot, especially with this album. But man, this is another one. Just another great Ace track. You totally unexpected intro, like that kind of weird, sample thing going on. Like never really heard anything on a Kiss album like that. And of course that, in my opinion, famous drum intro. It's very very funky and catchy at the same time, and the drums just sound so nice and crisp on this whole album, and especially here. And I'm convinced with that kind of main riff, that bow ba ba bow. I'm almost convinced that band Greta Van Fleet kind of bit that riff a little bit and used it in one of their songs, because it sounds a little too similar to my ears. The riff that they use in that one famous song that they have. So it just kind of makes you wonder there. But
Oh,
yeah,
they wouldn't rip anybody off.
no,
Are you
of
kidding?
course not. They're
No,
all
no.
original. I mean, the vocals are, you've never heard that before.
Ah, definitely not.
But yeah, I mean, just a great overall. Just kind of a little bit of funky to it, and just overall great song.
This one was number 10 for me. The bass in this song is crazy. It's awesome. But I think the bass is about the best thing about this song. The rest of it's kind of more of just like a meh, like I could skip it if I listened to it regularly. It just wasn't very impressive or stood out that much to me. Um, but that bass, man, I mean, I will give credit to that bass all day. Like that was crazy.
Chris has Greta Van Fleet and Buck Cherry ripped off Kiss. I know Buck Cherry definitely did. They ripped off Shock Me.
Doesn't
Wow.
surprise me at all.
Torpedo Girl is number 5 for me. Yeah, that drum intro is such a cool touch to this. It just, again, plays on that connection that Anton and Ace had and continued to use in Fraley's Comet throughout the whole solo album. It's Ace playing that bass riff, too, which is a little bit unsurprising, I think, that he would come up with something like that. And then that guitar riff on top of it, that might be the most... I'm sure I'm making this word up, but I want to say ingenuitive that Ace was with all of that. I think the lyrics are pretty ridiculous, but the song is still really, really catchy. And like a complete idiot, here I was last week speculating on whether The Oath had the first double bass in a Kiss song. The whole end of this song is double bass.
Yeah.
Dang it!
It's easy to forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, catchy guitar riffs and all.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to the end of the album, we have "You're All That I Want." This came in as my number 9. I would have almost rather the album ended with "Torpedo Girl" instead of this. I just
100%.
I just didn't feel like it was a great ender, and I felt like it's a good song. Don't get me wrong. I always enjoy this one, but I feel like it's a little too short at the same time. So it kind of leaves me wanting more every time I hear this song. But yeah, it as far as like the vocals and chorus and whatnot, it's a little to me somewhat reminiscent of "Easy as It Seems," but a little different. So again, I definitely would not have closed the album with this, in my opinion. Torpedo Girl would have been the better choice for, even something like She's So European, even. But overall, hey, I was complaining about the last couple albums. We only got 9 tracks, but hey, this time we got 11 tracks on a Kiss album. So we finally got that little bit extra for once, and a trend that would definitely continue as we keep going. Or in the album, Take Me Down Below. That would have been interesting.
This was number 9 for me as well. Again, like you said, to me, this song is a lot like the opening. I just don't think it was the best choice for an ending. It was just more of a meh kind of throwaway song like the opening track was, and I was really hoping that the ending was better than I remembered it, because it's been a really long time since I've listened to this album from start to finish, but I'm reminded of why that is. Like, cuz I just that ending and that beginning both, I was like, "Come on. Like, this is a Kiss album. Like, come on." So yeah, for an ending, I was not impressed. I would, yeah, Torpedo Girl would have been preferable to this.
Shoot, slap Black Diamond on the end of it again. I don't think anybody would have been mad
Right?
at
Yeah.
it.
Totally.
Yeah. This was also my number 9. Now, last time we did this was dead last for me. So I was prepared to talk a bit about how I didn't care for this one, but as it went, honestly, I was having trouble finding things that I didn't like about it. I remember not liking the harmonies in the chorus, and this time thought they were fine. I didn't remember for some reason that this was a Gene song, so that was a nice surprise. Um, it has little touches of the Beatlesy feelings, I feel like, that from the solo album, but not as soft. It's definitely not as soft as See You Tonight or Mr. Make Believe. But I feel like he brought that element into more of a light rock, pop rock song, which was nice. And then, yeah, the last note that I have is exactly what you guys said. Definitely should not have been the last song on the album. Torpedo Girl, I think, would have been the best.
Absolutely. All right, that wraps up Unmasked. Chris and Mike, looks like you guys are the only ones on the chat right now. So, if you want, please send over your overall ranks of this album, as harsh as it may be or not. They all count. So, for overall, for me, I give it a 7.5. And, I like the production of the album. I really think it all sounds really good. Like I said, the drums especially are nice and crisp, and it continues on that. Like again, I could tell a difference between this and Dynasty, but there are kind of similarities at the same time. I've heard people complain that this album sounds too tinny and blah 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 blah. But to me, like I say, I think it's a great sounding album. Always have. And again, as I mentioned, I think Peter it would have been cool to hear him sing Shandy if that would have happened. It's a shame that they couldn't have brought in Eric Carr a tad bit sooner to at least do something on the album, whether it was just like one track or doing some background, something to kind of give him that little extra introduction to the band. And and at the same time, well, no, I'll save this one for the confessions. But yeah, overall, like I said, I was glad we got our extra songs. A little bit of a bonus there is what it felt like. Very cool to once again see Ace getting 3 tracks. It was about time. Unfortunately, just at this part of the band and close to the end of his time with the band. I just wondered what other kind of stuff might have happened if he had 3 tracks, say on some of the earlier albums, but we'll never know that. So, but I got the cover alone. I mean, my God, one of the best Kiss covers, period. I think. I mean, it's such a like. I remember my uncle used to have this record, and it'd be sitting in his record room, and like I had never heard a song off of this album at the time. Like, this is when I was younger, and I would just sit and stare at this album cover for hours, just reading it, and I just love the colors and how everything looks, and not to mention the poster that comes with it. That's another thing. But I mean, even before I had heard a note of music on the album, I would just always look at this. And for a long time because there's always that thing like, oh, what Kiss album came out the year you were born? Well, this is the one for me. So there was a long time where I was kind of like, it's Unmasked, that kind of sucks. No, I wish it was a different. But the album has grown on me over the years. I'm not, I can listen to it if I'm just wanting to put on the whole thing. but as a whole, it's definitely not one of my favorites. I'm not going to say it's a great album from beginning to end like I feel Dynasty is now, and so many of the other early albums. But so yeah, solid 7.5 for me, and just different songs continue to grow on me more.
Overall, I gave this one a 6. Um, I just wish it could have been better. I feel like there was a lot of throwaway songs on it that just not maybe not throwaway songs, but they don't really stand out. They don't make me want to re-listen to the album as a whole. Um, and then just that beginning and the ending, that was the biggest problem for me. Was I felt they were both very weak for it being a Kiss album, because usually you can count on it either being they're both really strong, the ending and the beginning, or one or the other.
Mm.
It'll either have a strong opening or it'll have a strong ending, and this one I just feel like it lacked both. However, I will say that the songs I love on this album, they're fantastic songs, and I wish that the whole album would have been more like Naked City and She's So European. Like that's more of what you come to expect from Kiss. And the songs in general, just they had such this like laid back tone and feel, and I'm so used to Kiss just being this, in your face, hard rock band, and then it was just like it almost felt like some of the songs were just whitewashed almost, and I felt like there was potential for them to be a lot better.
Mm.
So I wish that it could have been more, you know, of what you would expect from. And I know that with some bands, when they do albums, if they try to do something different, like they try to, maybe go away from what they normally do because they just want to see how it would turn out, But I don't think this one quite hit that potential, quite hit that mark for them. It was more disappointing than it was like, oh, it's different, but I really like it. So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
I also gave this a 6 overall. Similar to last week with Dynasty, this was an album that I stayed away from when I was younger. The same thing for my True Confession last week. Under the pretense that it's a disco album, I don't want to hear that. And while this is certainly more poppy or dancey than any of their previous albums as a whole, it still has several rock moments. I think that the Love Gun shines through a little bit. That same
Yeah.
band.
Yep.
The production on this album, it's such a debated thing. It definitely isn't as clear as Dynasty, but I didn't find myself disliking it at all. I wish personally that the drums had been a bit clearer and crisper like they were on Dynasty. I feel like they're a bit, I don't want to say muted, that's not the right way to put it, but like of cheaper quality it seems to me. But other than that, I didn't find myself wishing for like more low frequencies, which seems to be what I hear people complain about. Like you said, they say the album's tinny, and I didn't think so at all.
No.
I wasn't a big fan a lot of the keyboard and synth usage throughout the album either. It wasn't terrible, but there were several times when a synth bit kind of like took over the mix, and I feel like that detracted from the songs sometimes. Not every time, but sometimes. I would have preferred something like more like previous albums where there were synth parts where they were necessary, but they were far back. They supplemented the rock elements and they weren't a main feature. Like Love Gun, for example, there's synth in the chorus. Most people don't even hear that because it wasn't meant to be something that was right in the front. It was meant to push everything else up. So overall, yeah, I appreciate this album a lot for what it is, and I like pretty much all the songs on it, except Talk to Me. I do think, however, that this album cements that split that the solo album started. You know what I mean? Dynasty continued it, where we hear the interests of the band members splitting, and we see and hear basically no collective band efforts on any of these songs. And I think that might be part of what hurts this album too.
Yeah, I mean, and you got Peter Criss all over the cover and poster and even the video, but yet doesn't play a note on the song or sing a note on the whole album is what I meant.
Right.
That's like that's nuts in itself, and because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Unmasked is technically Peter's final album because he's on the cover," so that's what people tend to think. But it's like, really, I guess it was I don't know, Love Gun or
Right.
part of Alive 4 was technically his last.
Absolutely. And what would they have done? I would have liked to know what their end game was there, because they kept it. They put him on the cover and they kept him in the band because they thought, well, maybe he'll get better. Maybe everything will be fine. We don't want the original four to split. But what? Let's say that happened. Best case scenario: Peter gets off the drugs and alcohol, makes a full recovery, gets back to the peak of his playing. What Anton played is not his style. He wasn't trying to sound like Peter. Peter would not have been able to play those parts. What was the point?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds closer to Eric Carr being on the album than it does Peter.
Yeah.
Which again, it's almost like had they have gotten Eric in that much sooner, I'm sure they would have put him on the cover at least, even if he wasn't actually playing on the album, because it would sound a little bit more believable to say, "Oh yeah, that's Eric Carr on the album," instead of Peter.
Right.
Chuck Hoskins just came in. His top three: She's So European, Tomorrow, and Torpedo Girl.
Nice.
Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, Mike and Chris were talking about how around this time, Kiss wasn't exactly that popular with people, understandably, and you would get beat up for being a Kiss fan, and I've definitely heard those stories. I wasn't old enough, or at the time, especially when these albums were brand new, but I do remember even when I was in maybe like high school or grade school that we're talking late 80s, early 90s, whatever. I remember even then like getting made fun of for being a Kiss fan and things like that. So I mean, it just kind of, it was just one of them things where you almost were like, you just kind of felt like you were to yourself, with your Kiss fandom, and you didn't let a lot of people know. and you guys keep mentioning about AC/DC. Well, it's kind of funny now because look where we're at today. Like people sort of laugh at AC/DC nowadays, at where they're at, and look where Kiss is now compared to them. And I'm not saying AC/DC is bad; they're a good band. I haven't listened to the entire new album, but what I have heard isn't horrible. It's pretty much what you'd expect from AC/DC, but it's just kind of ironic because how the tables turn, and now AC/DC, because I get it, back then 1980 whatever, AC/DC was looked at almost like how people look at Slayer or what, those kind of bands, like, oh, these guys are heavy and they're great and blah 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 blah. Well, guess what, things change and look where we're at now.
Very true.
All right, so we got some confession time coming up. This should be interesting. Confession. People were nuts in the 80s, yeah. All right, Luke, you want to start this time?
Yes, I do. All right, so I knew that my confession was going to end up being very similar to last week. So I want to turn this into just a little bit of a PSA, I think, in addition to a slightly different confession. I stayed away from this album when I was a kid because I thought it was a disco album, and I thought that I would hate every second of it. And what an idiot. You know what I mean? Going back through these albums and listening to them, the same with Dynasty, I discovered that I really don't call this a disco album. Fight me. Pop, sure. Light rock, definitely. There are definitely a lot more disco elements and dancey songs on this than any of their other albums. But there is not enough on here, I think, that is in the realm of I Was Made for Loving You or Sure Know Something, that I personally think the entire work could be called rightly a disco album. And so if you are avoiding listening to this album because you think it's disco, throw that out the window and listen to it anyway. I think Kiss found an interesting middle ground there between rock and disco. Yeah, there are definitely dancey disco elements on here, but it's not a Bee Gees album. It is absolutely not Saturday Night Fever. So don't worry about that if you are. There's some songs, but there's some really good songs too that I think get a bad rap just because they happen to be on this album that people generally dislike. You know?
Yeah, and for me, the only reason I say that all of this one is more disco-y is because, again, yes, there are more elements on this. When Dynasty only has one song, to me, that is disco. You can't just call all the whole album's disco because of one song.
Right.
Well, this album has, at least 2 or so songs, 2, 3, maybe 4 songs at the most that do have those elements. So, yes, I agree at the same time that it's not a full disco album, but yes, this is more disco than Dynasty is basically the argument I always have for people.
Right.
Savannah?
My true confession is a lot shorter than Luke's.
Sorry, geez, all right.
It's, Naked City is tied with A World Without Heroes as my all-time favorite Gene song.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Excuse me. Mine's a little bit more of a what if scenario, I guess. And in a way, like I wish, kind of. And I know this sounds weird because, again, we know what Eric Carr did when he came to the band and what he meant, what he means to me, blah, blah, blah. But it makes me wonder, what if Anton Fig had really joined the band? Because with what he did on Ace's solo album and freaking Dynasty, and now even on Unmasked, there's arguably better drum parts on Unmasked than, those other 2 albums. And it's almost like they were sort of working to that point. Like, could this guy possibly be the next drummer? And you could hear the tightness in those albums between them and, especially him and Ace. And obviously, as fate would have it, the way things went, they ended up working together in a different, band or whatever. But, it's like, had they decided to go with Anton instead of bringing in Eric Carr, I just wonder how different things might have been. And again, there's that, you could start having those questions. Oh, what would his character have been? But at the same time, it's like, would he have fit though? Because you look at how the Anton Fig that we know as the way he looks nowadays, and especially when he was on Letterman, it's like, okay, yeah, that look definitely wouldn't have fit with Kiss, but I don't know what he looked like back at this time, 78, 79. Maybe he had longer hair, or maybe he could have been a cool fit had he had put on makeup or something. But it's just one of them things that, with as good as he played on all that stuff, it just kind of made me wonder, like, what if he really did become the next drummer? And, there was no Eric Carr in the Kiss world, for all we know. And, who knows? And again, speaking on that level, there may or may not have ever been a reunion in that case too, because, not to sound like I'm knocking Eric Carr, but Anton Fig is still with us to this day. So, who knows? He might have been with them all through. Who knows? We just don't know. And it's just kind of one of them things that I've always kind of, been curious to see. So, or, had it would have happened.
Right. That brings to mind for me, it makes you wonder, would Ace have stayed because he meshed so well with Anton, or when Ace left, would Anton have gone with him to still do Fraley's Comments?
Right.
Yeah. So many branching makes you wonder.
And I hate to say, because you kind of touched on it with, Peter being on the cover and everything, it was like they were trying to butter him up a little bit. And then I feel like with Ace getting 3 songs on these next 2 albums, all of a sudden after the solo album thing, it was like, in a way, it kind of felt like they were trying to butter him up too. And yeah, that kind of sucks at the same time, but at the same time, we did get some, pretty decent songs. So, but that's kind of what it felt like. And then of course, I'm sure we'll talk about this more next week with that album, with what ultimately made him decide to finally, okay, that's it, I am done now. But it's just, that's just kind of how it feels when it just all of a sudden after the solo albums and the success that Ace has had, that suddenly he gets 3 songs an album and everything. But Chuck Hoskins was asking if Bob Kulick had hair. Did he have hair back in '73 when he tried out? Yeah, I want to say he did, but not for long, because it seems like Bruce. I know Bruce had posted some pictures where Bob had hair, and this I think was even post '73. So he must have. And again, it's weird because that's how I always felt with Bob, is like the way we always knew him to look, being bald. It's like, God, he wouldn't have fit, as far as the look goes. He would have had to wear a wig or something. But
right,
and it's weird to say, because in most bands it's like, oh, who cares? But with Kiss, there really is that kind of, you kind of have to have that certain kind of look and that type of hair, to like really fit in.
If they had gone with him, I bet you they would have made him wear a wig.
Yeah,
I bet they. Yeah. And
then just like I said with Eric Carr, it's like when it comes down to it, he, again, loved Peter, but Eric almost would have been the better fit from the very beginning had that had happened, because he's got that same kind of hair. He's from the same neighborhoods that those guys are, and they were all closer in age, and just he almost would have been a better fit from the very beginning than where he came in. But again, thankfully things happen the way it is, because Peter's Peter, and he definitely influenced a lot of us. So I mean, that's that. So all right, well, let's get into these final rankings here, and then we'll start wrapping this thing up and move on.
Absolutely. I got to pee. So this episode is special in a different way that relates to these rankings. In case any of you guys didn't know, the premise for this that we've been doing for a long time, Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown, was something that me and my dad and my younger brother and my younger sister used to do long time ago now. And we didn't do the albums in chronological order. We didn't do all the albums either. We didn't get that far. But the very first Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown episode is Unmasked. So that's kind of an interesting little tidbit. So I have rankings from that, in addition to when we did this a couple of years ago on Kiss Meets the Podcast as well.
And if you guys search really deep on YouTube, you could probably still find those videos, because they are still out there.
Yep, definitely. Very, very interesting, different. They were more, it wasn't us talking about it and going through the rankings. It was more of a scripted, we would rank them and then picked out some interesting details and talked about it, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very interesting if you guys want to check that out. Okay, so you guys know the drill now. In addition to the 3 of us, the rankings that you saw, we are counting in several other rankings. We'll just jump through here real quick. We are counting rankings from Steve McGowan, who gave this a 7 out of 10, and his top 3 were Tomorrow, Naked City, and Is That You? Also, Rochelle McGowan, who gave this album a 9 out of 10. Her top 3, Naked City, Is That You, and Tomorrow. By the way, I really appreciate that Talk to Me was at the bottom of both of lists.
Oh, yeah, the guy that gave Wiped Out such a high ranking.
Yeah. Almost at the bottom of Steve's, but number 11 for Rochelle, too. So good job. We're also counting in votes from me from last time we did this. I gave this a 6 out of 10, and my top 3 were Shandy, Two Sides of the Coin, and Naked City. Eli, from last time, you gave this a 7 out of 10. Your top 3 were Is That You, She's So European, and Naked City.
Well, Is That You definitely fell this time.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then, I gave it a whole half point better this time.
Yeah, exactly.
It really changes, guys.
It really, every week. We've got my dad from last time we did this, who gave this a 5. His top 3 were Tomorrow, Easy as It Seems, and Shandy. Steve McGowan from last time, who gave this a 7 out of 10. His top 3 were Tomorrow, Is That You, and Shandy. Vote from RJ Jordan, who I believe was a guest on the episode last time. Gave this a 7 out of 10. His top 3 were Is That You, Shandy, and Talk to Me as number 1.
Yes. Now you guys know why RJ hasn't been back on the show.
Yeah, that's
He's
what
been
it was.
banned.
We got Jay Rucker. Last time gave this an 8.5 out of 10, and his top 3 were Torpedo Girl, Easy as It Seems, and Naked City. Robbie Stars last time, his ranking, he gave this, actually he didn't give us an overall, but his top 3 were Tomorrow, What Makes the World Go Round, and Naked City. The following votes were from the original Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown. My younger brother Sam, who his top 3, Is That You, Talk to Me, and Torpedo Girl. Savannah, actually, from the original episode, her top 3, Shandy, Tomorrow, and What Makes the World Go Round. My younger sister Magenica, her top 3, What Makes the World Go Round, Talk to Me, and Shandy. Bunch of losers.
See, we know who the smarter siblings are.
Sure. We've got Jay Rucker's niece, who gave this a 9 out of 10. Rain in Adamstown last time gave this an 8 out of 10. His top 3 were She's So European, Tomorrow, and Naked City. Okay, I just did this really weird. Robbie Starr's overall ranking is 9. That's separate column from his others. I'm not sure why I did that. Jacob Hicks gave this an 8.5. Johnny Ottaviani gave us a 6.5. We are also counting in Chris Lyon's 2.5 out of 10. Mike Watts 5 out of 10.
And
then
Chuck Hodgkin just came in with an 8.
Solid 8. Weakest track is Two Sides. Best Ace song that he ever wrote. Screw you guys.
Come on.
All right, let me reconfigure.
What's going on?
did
Savannah?
actually.
You ain't going into labor, are you?
What?
You ain't going into labor, are you?
I don't know. Honestly, at this point, I don't really know.
I mean, we'll keep this show running if you are. So.
Yeah,
No, Eli.
All right, so slapping all that together, we got our results for this week. This album comes in with a 7.0 out of 10 average overall ranking.
Actually, not bad based on some of these rankings.
that is pretty high. That's not the lowest that we've got by far, but it's not high. Most of the albums have come in right around 8.0, but our lowest right now are Peter and Gene's solos at 6.2. So yeah, that's pretty right up in there. In last place for this album is 11th place. It is You're All That I Want. In 10th place, Easy As It Seems. In 9th place, Torpedo Girl.
Ooh.
Yeah, low. In 8th place, Talk to Me. In 7th place, What Makes the World Go Round. In 6th place, She's So European. Yeah.
Wow.
In 5th place, Two Sides of the Coin. And our top 4 for this week, in 4th place, Is That You? In 3rd place, Tomorrow. In 2nd place, Shandy. And of course, with a massive lead in 1st place, Naked City.
All right.
Well, at least we got that. But man, we need you guys to put some more overall ratings in there for each song. Some of these songs need more justice.
Yep, there's a lot of very, very close scores between 8th place and 5th place, so it wouldn't be hard to upset that whole balance.
Yes, yes. Well, I guess that wraps up Unmasked episode. So where are we at? I guess, well, obviously Elder is the next album, but I am assuming that we're probably not doing a show next week because you guys are probably going to be in the hospital, I would imagine.
Correct.
Someone else just put a rating in there.
Oh,
Got it.
Snake Hips 3131 gave it an 8.
Nice.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
There's Carolina. What's up, man? Just now turned it on. Did not know you guys were. Well, yeah, sorry, man. I usually post those little heads up things earlier in the day, but my Facebook account got hacked. That's been a big mess, so I wasn't able to do that. And so, yeah, we just jumped on. But yeah, we just finished up everything, man, unfortunately. But I do appreciate you popping in. Drop us a line still. If you do send us a line on Facebook, I probably won't see it, but Luke or Savannah will see it. Or if you can, shoot us a message on through YouTube or something. We do still want to try to set something up to collaborate with you, and so definitely been enjoying your videos too, man. We were giving you a shout out earlier in the show. Thanks for going back and voting on all the past episodes too. That was really cool. Made some changes to everything. So if you feel like it and you're bored, go back, catch the beginning of the show after this is done, and you can catch up with all that. But so anyway, like we were saying, these guys are going to be in the hospital next week, so we are going to just go ahead and say now that we are not going to do the show next week. I assume we'll be back the following week. I'm sure it'll probably just be Luke and I. Chris, you said you wanted to do the Elder episode. Definitely, you can come on.
That'd be awesome.
So, like I say, it's more than likely, it's definitely not going to be next week, so be kind of expecting the week after. And again, you and Luke may have to sort of try it as much as Luke can, because I know he'll be busy, since I can't get into the messenger right now. I'm still messing with that to figure something out, but just to kind of collaborate on that and getting it set up. So, and then count me in for your Christmas show too. Hopefully we can somehow communicate and I can get things fixed very soon. But
yes.
Yeah, no problem, man. Whenever you get your Unmasked stuff in, we'll be sure to add them in, and we'll update all that for the next time. And yeah, Chris, like I say, we'll be in touch. It's look at 2 weeks instead of next week. So we'll get in touch with you guys to get all this stuff set up. So yeah, we should have a new member to the show joining us very soon next week. New member of the KISS Army.
Yes, absolutely. We need to get a KISS onesie to bring him home in.
Yes. So we need Chris, Mike, one of you guys. You need to sew one up and send it over. So
yes,
maybe a little KISS pool cleaner or something from Mike.
Yes.
All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. We're wrapping this thing up, and again, we'll see you in 2 weeks for the Elder. Everyone, take care until then. Oh no, Carolina, Savannah's gonna be having a baby. Luke and Savannah's having a baby.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be going into the hospital next week. So it's all good, man. But
absolutely.
Chris said name me Mace.
Yes.
They do already have the name picked out.
Yes. It's Vinny Vincent.
Chuck Hoskins says good luck with the new arrival.
Much appreciated, everybody. Thank you.
Yep.
So we'll be sure to update you guys, and hey, check out the Facebook pages. And until you see us again, I'm sure you'll be able to see some pictures and all that stuff, and we'll give you the full blow by blow story next time we're on here. So
yes.
We may even have footage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Yes.
You're gonna fail.
I may have implanted a hidden camera somewhere.
Oh.
Actually, I'm the doctor. I'm the one that's delivering the
Oh my God.
That would be a twist, wouldn't it?
I can't even respond to that. That is terrifying. The thought of that is terrifying.
Oh, come on. I'm not that bad. I'd
I
at
feel
least.
like you would be at the end just with a glove. Catch.
Yes. I'd at least sterilize my hands.
Yeah, maybe.
With a baseball
maybe.
glove on. Just ready.
Big catchers, man. Come on.
Yes.
Push.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Dr. Love, yeah. Oh God, yeah. It's all good. So we'll see you guys, and things are gonna be a lot different next time you see us. So we'll see you guys soon for Elder. And everyone, thanks for joining as always. You guys make it fun, and we appreciate all your input as always. So we'll see you here in 2 weeks for the Elder. Hopefully you guys in Kiss and Tell are going to get some episodes out to give people something to watch. Same with Carolina Hard Rock. Again, make sure to check out his channel. Some great Kiss content on there as well. So please, make sure to check them guys out. All right, guys. Thanks again, and we'll see you here in a few weeks. Take care, everyone. Be safe. Oh, cool. Yeah. Carolina, hopefully I'll see you on the Kiss and Tell thing too for the Christmas show. So that'll be awesome, man.